The translator collar around my neck buzzed twice. Standard warning before entering royal chambers. I pressed my palm against the smooth wall, and the door dissolved into mist. 3 steps in, I froze. The alien queen sat motionless on a crystalline throne that seemed to grow from the floor itself. Her carapace shimmered with colors I'd never seen on Earth, patterns that shifted like oil on water. 4 eyes, each the size of my fist, tracked my entrance with predatory precision. Behind her, 7-foot warriors stood in perfect formation, their mandibles clicking in synchronized rhythm. Ambassador Chen. Her voice came through my translator as cold wind through metal. You requested this audience. Speak. I'd broken protocol bringing her. Children weren't permitted in the throne room. But Maya's school had been vaporized in the attack 3 days ago, and I had nowhere safe to leave her. Everywhere on the colony was a target now. Your Majesty, the human settlements are collapsing under pressure from the Kresh invasion. I am aware. One of her secondary arms gestured dismissively. You seek military aid. The answer is no. My breath caught. We have a treaty. A trade agreement, not a military alliance. Her compound eyes narrowed. Your species has been here 8 months. The Kresh Empire has ruled this sector for 3,000 years. Why would I provoke them for temporary guests? Maya's grip became painful. I could feel her trembling. We'd lost her mother in the first bombardment. If the Queen refused us, we had maybe 48 hours before the Kresh flattened everything. Your Majesty, please. Dismissed. The guards shifted. They were preparing to escort us out. In 30 seconds, this would be over. Every human on New Sahara would die because I couldn't convince an alien monarch to care. Maya's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. You're really pretty. Every mandible stopped clicking. The silence became absolute. I looked down at my daughter in horror. She'd spoken in English. The translator would render it instantly. Breaking protocol during dismissal was a death sentence in some cultures. I had no idea what it meant here. The Queen's massive form shifted forward. Her throne groaned. Every guard's weapon hummed to life, charging in case their sovereign felt threatened. What did the child say? Her voice had changed. Quieter. Dangerous. I swallowed hard. She said, you look pretty, Your Majesty. She's 6. She doesn't understand. I know what she said. The Queen rose to her full height, 12 feet of armored magnificence. I heard the translation. But why would she say this? One wrong word, and we'd both die here. Children speak without thinking, Your Majesty. I apologized profusely. The Kresh called me beautiful once. The Queen descended the steps toward us, each footfall echoing like thunder. Before they tried to conquer my world, they said my carapace would make a fine trophy, that my planet was too pretty to resist. She stopped 5 feet away. This close I could see the scars beneath her shimmer. Deep gouges across her thorax, burns along her lower arms. For 300 years I have fought them. Do you know how many of my people died defending what the Kresh found beautiful? No, Your Majesty. 17 million in the first decade alone. She looked down at Maya, who met her gaze without flinching. Your child uses the same word they did. Why? Maya tugged my hand. Can I answer? Every instinct screamed no. But I had nothing left to lose. I nodded. Because you are pretty, Maya said simply. Not like a trophy, like my mom was pretty. She was strong and scary when she needed to be, but also really pretty. You look like that.
The Queen's mandibles opened slightly.
One of the guards made a sound I'd never heard before. Your mother is deceased? The bombs got her, Maya said. Her voice didn't waver. Dad says she protected people until the end.
That she was brave. You look like you'd protect people too.
The Queen was silent for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice had changed again. Softer, almost gentle. What is your name, child? Maya Chen. Maya Chen, do you know what the Kresh will do if they take this planet? They'll kill everyone, like they killed my mom. Yes. The Queen looked at me, and your father came here to beg for help. To save your lives. Because that is what parents do. He's not begging, Maya said firmly. He's asking. There's a difference. A sound rippled through the guards. I realized with shock that they were laughing. The Queen's mandibles spread wide. Their version of a smile. Indeed there is. The Queen turned back to her throne. Guards, summon the War Council. Ambassador Chen, you will present your defense needs. In detail. Your Majesty, Your daughter reminded me why I have fought the Kresh for 3 centuries. She settled onto her throne, her carapace catching the light, not because they called me beautiful, but because they cannot see the difference between beauty and possession. She looked at Maya. Between admiration and conquest. Thank you, I breathed. Do not thank me yet. War is coming, Ambassador. The Kresh will not forgive this alliance. Her 4 eyes fixed on me. But I have learned something today. Humanity sees beauty and strength. Perhaps together we will teach the Kresh to see it too. The War Council chambers were smaller than I expected, barely large enough for the circular table carved from a single piece of black stone. 6 alien commanders sat in positions marked by bioluminescent symbols that pulsed in rhythm with their breathing. They'd been arguing for 20 minutes in their native tongue, too rapid for my translator to keep up. I caught fragments, troop movements, supply lines, orbital defense grids. The Queen raised one primary arm and silence fell instantly. Commander Thex believes engaging the Kresh fleet directly is suicide. What does the human ambassador think? Every compound eye turned toward me. I'd studied their military capabilities during the flight over. The numbers weren't encouraging. Direct engagement would be suicide, I agreed. The Kresh have 47 capital ships in this sector. Your fleet has 12. Finally, wisdom from... They're following a search pattern, burning everything methodically. I pulled up holographic displays from my wrist unit. They've hit 6 colonies in 6 days. Always moving east. If we evacuate the remaining settlements west and consolidate defenses here, I highlighted a canyon system near the largest human city. We can force them into a kill zone. Using your people as bait. The Queen's voice was neutral, giving nothing away. Using geography as a weapon. The Kresh are methodical, Your Majesty. They won't deviate from pattern. That makes them predictable. A smaller commander whose name I couldn't pronounce leaned forward. This canyon system. The walls are unstable metamorphic rock. Any significant weapons discharge could cause catastrophic collapse. Yes. I met her eyes. On them. The chamber went quiet. Maya, sitting in the corner where I'd told her to stay, watched everything with frightening intensity. You would bury them. The Queen's statement wasn't a question. I would use every advantage we have. The Kresh are stronger, faster, and more numerous. But they've been the dominant force so long they've forgotten how prey thinks. I switched the display to show the canyon's cross-section. We set charges along both walls. Let them pour ships into the valley pursuing evacuees. Then we bring the mountains down on top of them. How many ships would this eliminate? Thex asked. If they commit fully, maybe 20. Half their fleet. And if they don't commit fully, the Queen's eyes hadn't left my face. Then we've wasted resources and shown our hand. I didn't look away. War is risk, Your Majesty. You've fought the Kresh for centuries. Has playing it safe ever worked? One of the commanders hissed. Anger or amusement, I couldn't tell. The Queen raised a hand for silence. Your plan requires perfect timing. The charges must detonate simultaneously across 17 miles. Any variance in the ship's escape. I know it requires the Kresh to follow your predicted pattern exactly. Yes, and it requires your people to play bait, to run while the enemy pursues. Many will die before we spring the trap. My throat tightened. I know that too. Yet you propose it anyway, because if we don't hit them hard now, everyone dies. At least this way, some survive. The Queen stood towering over the table. My people have a saying, Ambassador. The desperate beast bites deepest. I am beginning to understand why humanity spread across the stars despite lacking natural weapons or armor. She looked at each commander in turn. We implement the human's plan. Thex, you will coordinate the charges. I want them placed and ready within 30 hours. Your Majesty, the risk is acceptable. The Kresh believe we are too civilized to fight dirty. Ambassador Chen has reminded us that survival requires no apologies. She turned to me. Your people will need to evacuate immediately. Can you organize this? Yes. But I need transportation and communication access. Anything else? I hesitated. Maya had moved closer, watching me with those dark eyes that saw too much. If this works, the Kresh will send reinforcements. This only buys us time. Time is a weapon too, Ambassador. We will use it wisely. The Queen gestured and a guard approached with a small metallic device. This grants you command authority over human military forces and civilian evacuation protocols. Use it well. I took the device, feeling its weight. Thank you, Your Majesty. She saw clearly when I was blind. The Queen looked at Maya. Child, you will stay in the royal wing during the battle. You will be safe there. I want to stay with my dad. The room went still. Contradicting the Queen was dangerous even for adults. The guards shifted, hands moving toward weapons. The Queen studied Maya for a long moment. Why? Because he's all I have left. If he dies, I want to know. I don't want to wait alone wondering if he's coming back. I started to apologize, but the Queen stopped me with a gesture. She descended from her position and knelt, an almost impossible position for her physiology, until she was level with Maya's face. Your honesty honors you, but your father cannot fight effectively if he fears for you. I'm not asking to fight. I'm asking not to be left behind again. They left me at school when the bombs came. Everyone said Mom would come back. She didn't. Tears finally spilled down Maya's cheeks. I just want to know. The Queen's mandibles trembled. She reached out one careful claw and touched Maya's shoulder with surprising gentleness. I understand. You may stay with your father, but you will obey every order he gives instantly. This is non-negotiable. Maya nodded, wiping her eyes. Yes, Your Majesty. The Queen stood and looked at me. Your child has courage. Don't waste it by dying foolishly. I'll do my best. See that you do. The War Council is adjourned. We move at dawn. The commanders filed out, leaving me alone with Maya and two guards. I pulled my daughter close, feeling her small body shake with silent sobs. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. You were perfect. I kissed the top of her head. Your mom would be so proud. We had 30 hours to save everyone. I prayed it would be enough. The evacuation was chaos organized by sheer desperation. 12,000 humans streaming through narrow canyon passes, carrying everything they could manage. I watched from a command post carved into the rock face, coordinating movements through a holographic interface that projected real-time positions. The Queen's technology made our human systems look like stone tools. Sector 7 is lagging. Thex's voice crackled through my translator. He was 3 miles west, overseeing charge placement. They have elderly and injured slowing the column. Can we get transport vehicles to them? Negative. The crash advance has accelerated. If we divert vehicles now, we lose our timetable. I pulled up the tactical display. The crash fleet had changed course 6 hours ago, moving faster than predicted. They'd detected something, maybe our evacuation, maybe just following probability. Either way, they'd be here in 4 hours instead of 8. Leave them, I said, hating every syllable. Ambassador, if we slow down to save everyone, we save no one. Tell Sector 7 to maintain pace. Those who can't keep up, I couldn't finish the sentence. Understood. I closed my eyes, seeing the faces I was condemning. Maya's hand found mine. She'd been silent for hours, watching me make impossible choices. This is what Mom did, isn't it? She asked quietly. When the bombs came? Yes. She stayed behind so others could run. It's not fair. It's not. I squeezed her hand. But fair doesn't matter when survival is the only option. Ambassador Chen, this is Queen Suresh. We have a problem. The Queen never used personal communication during operations unless... What's wrong? The Kresh aren't following predicted patterns. They're splitting their fleet. 20 ships approaching your position, but 27 are moving toward the northern settlements. The settlements we'd already evacuated. Empty buildings that should have been ignored, unless they know it's a trap. They're too spread out for the canyon strategy to work now. I stared at the holographic display, watching 24 Kresh destroyers converge on empty towns while a smaller force moved toward my actual position. Smart. Divide our attention, make us commit forces to defend nothing while they hunted the real targets at leisure. New plan, I said. We spring the trap on the 20 ships coming here. Let the other 27 waste time on empty buildings. They'll burn everything. Those settlements represent millions in infrastructure. People we can't. I started adjusting tactical markers. Thex, how many charges are already in position? 80%. We need 4 more hours for full coverage. You have 90 minutes. Focus on the eastern approach where the main force is coming. Forget the western wall. That cuts our kill zone efficiency by 40%. Better than zero.
Do it. The next hour blurred into organized terror. Columns of refugees pouring through checkpoints, while overhead, crushed scout ships began atmospheric entry. They looked like falling stars until they leveled out and started scanning. We'd camouflaged the canyon entrances with holographic projectors, but they wouldn't hold up to close inspection.
First contact in 30 minutes, Tex reported. Charges are placed, but not all are networked. I need more time. Which sections are incomplete? 6 charges offline. The northern cluster covered a 3-mile stretch. Without it, Kresh ships could escape through the gap, but there was no time to fix it. Connect everything else. Ambassador, I must protest. Your protest is noted. Follow orders. Maya tugged my sleeve. What happens if some get away? They call for reinforcements, and we're back where we started. I tried to keep my voice calm. But some is better than all. She nodded slowly, like Sector 7. Some is better than none. The wisdom in those words hit me hard. When had my 6-year-old learned to think in triage? The Kresh ships appeared on visual sensors 15 minutes later. Sleek black holes reflecting no light, moving in perfect formation. They swept across the canyon rim, sensors painting everything with electromagnetic radiation. One dip lower, heading straight for our largest refugee cluster. They've spotted something, Thex said, adjusting formation to investigate. Let them look. Don't spring anything yet. The ship descended until it was hovering 50 feet above the canyon floor. Its weapon ports glowed with charging energy. Below, 300 people tried to stay quiet in improvised shelters. Ambassador, they're locking weapons. My hand hovered over the detonation control. Too early and we missed the main fleet. Too late and those 300 died. The Queen's voice filled my ear, calm as starlight. Trust your instincts, Ambassador Chen. The Kresh ship's weapons reached full charge. I pressed the trigger. Thunder rolled through the canyon as charges detonated in sequence. The northern wall shattered, sending billions of tons of rock into freefall. The scout ship tried to retreat, but the debris field caught it midway, crushing its hull like foil. Then the eastern charges blew and the real avalanche began. Kresh destroyers tried to break formation as mountains fell around them. Some made it, their engines screaming as they clawed for altitude. Others weren't fast enough. Rock and ship became one, compressed into twisted metal sculptures at the canyon floor. Count? I demanded. 13 confirmed kills, Thex reported. 4 heavily damaged. 3 escaped. Not perfect, but enough. The canyon was now completely impassable, choked with rubble and wreckage. The damaged ships are requesting support, Thex continued. The northern fleet is changing course. They know we hit the main force. I watched the tactical display as 27 Kresh ships abandoned their search of empty settlements and burned toward our position. They'd be here in 2 hours, and we had nothing left to stop them. The Queen's presence filled the command post before I saw her enter. Maya stood up straight, remembering protocol even in crisis. I should have done the same, but couldn't tear my eyes from the tactical display showing 27 vengeful warships closing in. Impressive trap, Ambassador. The Queen studied the holographic carnage, 13 kills with minimal losses. It won't matter when the rest arrive. No, it won't. She manipulated the display with casual expertise, which is why we're leaving. I finally looked at her. Your Majesty? The canyon served its purpose. We bloodied them, proved humanity fights dirty. Now we retreat before they can retaliate. She highlighted a mountain range 300 miles north. My people built fortress complexes here centuries ago. The Kresh have tried to breach them 47 times. They've failed 47 times. You had fortresses and you let us build in the open? We needed hope, not a cage. Her compound eyes reflected the hologram's glow. Hope made you brave enough to fight. Now you need survival. The fortress provides that. Tex appeared at the entrance, his carapace scorched from blast proximity. Evacuation transports are ready, but we can only take 8,000 on the first wave. 12,000 need evacuation, I said. I am aware of mathematics, Ambassador. Tex's mandibles clicked irritation. Second wave will return in 6 hours. We don't have 6 hours. Then 4,000 humans will need to move faster or hide better. He turned to the Queen. Your Majesty, if we're doing this, we need to leave now. The Queen nodded. Begin loading. Priority to children, injured, and those with critical skills. This was battlefield triage at planetary scale. There were no good choices. Maya had moved to the command post entrance, staring at the canyon below where refugees still streamed through checkpoints. We're leaving people behind again.
We don't have a choice, sweetheart. Everyone always says that. She looked up at me. But someone decided the transports only carry 8,000. Someone decided we couldn't build more. Choices happened, we just don't like them. The Queen made that sound again. Alien laughter. Your daughter has a philosopher's mind. She's correct. We made choices long before this moment. Now we live with consequences. Or die with them, Thex muttered. That too. The Queen beckoned me to follow. Come, Ambassador. You'll coordinate the first wave departure while I prepare defensive positions. Your daughter may accompany you or stay here with guards. Maya grabbed my hand. I'm staying with Dad. We moved through corridors that had been carved by tools I couldn't comprehend. Smooth walls that seemed to absorb sound. Outside, massive transport ships sat on landing pads, their cargo bays already filling with humanity's remnants. I recognized faces. The teacher from Maya's destroyed school, the doctor who treated her mother's body, the engineer who'd helped me understand alien technology. They trusted me to save them, and I was about to leave 4,000 behind. Families with children bored through entrance Alpha. I spoke into the comm system, my voice echoing across the compound. Medical personnel and critical infrastructure specialists, entrance Beta, moved quickly and calmly. The loading process was chaos wrapped in discipline. Parents clutched children. The elderly helped each other up boarding ramps, and everyone cast glances at the sky where Kresh ships would soon appear. Maya watched a girl her age board with her father. The girl was crying, asking about her mother. The father's face said everything. Dad, what about the 4,000? I don't know, Maya. You're in charge. You have to know. Being in charge means making decisions with incomplete information. Sometimes terrible decisions. I knelt beside her. Your mom understood that. When the bombs came, she stayed behind because someone had to, and she was brave enough to make that choice. What choice are you making? Before I could answer, Thex appeared. Ambassador, we have a situation. The second wave transport just reported engine failure. They won't make it back today. My stomach dropped. How many can the remaining transports carry? 9,000 if we pack them dangerously tight. 10,000 if we're willing to risk structural failure. I did the math instantly. 12,000 refugees. 10,000 capacity. 2,000 people with no way out. Start loading 10,000, push capacity limits. And the remaining 2,000? When the Kresh pass, they scatter and pray. I hated every word. It's the best option we have. It's not an option, Maya said. It's a death sentence. Then give me a better idea. I snapped, immediately regretting it. I'm sorry The Kresh want revenge, right? For the ships we destroyed? Maya was staring at the tactical display, her young mind working through problems that should have been beyond her. What if they got it? What do you mean? What if we give them a target? Something they want to destroy more than refugees. Thex's mandibles spread. Surprise or respect. The command post. We make them think leadership is still here. Broadcasting false signals from the post while we evacuate everyone, I said, following the logic. They'll focus their attack here, buying the refugees time to scatter. And whoever sets up those signals won't have time to evacuate, Thex said quietly. It's a one-way mission. She'd been listening. I will stay. This is my world. If anyone dies to defend it, that honor belongs to me. Your Majesty, no. Thex looked horrified. You are the Queen. Your people need to survive. That requires sacrifice. She looked at me. Ambassador Chen, will this work? Maybe. If the Kresh commit fully to destroying the command post, if our refugees scatter fast enough, if a dozen other variables go our way, I met her eyes. It's a terrible plan. All the best plans are. She turned to Thex. How long to set up false signals? Ambassador, get your people loaded and away from here. I'll buy you whatever time I can. Maya stepped forward. You're going to die. The Queen knelt. That impossible movement that showed how much she'd changed. Probably, child. But dying so others live is the finest death a ruler can ask for. My mom said the same thing. Maya's voice cracked, right before she left, and never came back. Your mother was wise. I hope to be half as brave. Don't. Maya wiped her eyes fiercely. Don't be brave. Be smart. Figure out how to survive and lead and save people. That's what leaders should do. The Queen was silent for a long moment. Then she stood and looked at Tex. Change of plans. Set the false signals on automated protocols. I'll command from the transport. Your Majesty?
The child is right. Martyrdom is easy. Leadership is hard. She looked at Maya. Thank you for reminding me which one matters more. We loaded every transport beyond safe capacity. People stood crammed together, breathing recycled air, trusting that hull integrity would hold. I coordinated from the largest transport's bridge, watching refugees scatter into canyon passages while our automated systems broadcast false command signals from the abandoned post. The creche arrived like a storm. 27 ships dropped through atmosphere and unleashed hell on the command post. Energy weapons turned rock to glass. Kinetic strikes cratered the mountainside. They poured enough firepower to crack a continent into the empty complex where they thought we were hiding. And while they were distracted, 10,000 refugees and one human ambassador fled toward the northern fortresses. Maya watched the bombardment through rear sensors. They're so angry. We hurt them. They want to hurt back. That's what makes them beatable. Anger makes you predictable. Below, the canyon we'd called home for 8 months burned under alien fury. I'd failed to save it. Failed to save everyone in it. But the 10,000 breathing recycled air around me were 10,000 victories against extinction. The Queen's voice came over calm. All transports report status. Green across the board, I replied. Heading for Fortress Alpha as planned. Good. When we arrive, you and I will discuss long-term strategy. This battle is won, but the war continues. Agreed. And your Majesty? Yes, Ambassador. Thank your daughter for having wisdom beyond her years. A pause. She reminds me why we fight. Not for territory or pride, but for those who see beauty in strength and courage in survival. Maya had fallen asleep against my shoulder, exhausted from hours of terror. I held her carefully, feeling her heartbeat against my ribs. She'd lost her mother, her home, her school, but she was alive. And as long as she was alive, hope survived. The fortress appeared on sensors, a massive complex carved into living mountain, older than human civilization. It looked impregnable. I prayed it was. The war was just beginning. But we'd proven something today. Humanity could fight dirty, could make hard choices, could survive. And sometimes, in the darkest moments, a child's simple observation could change everything. We'd learned that beauty and strength weren't opposites, that kindness and warfare could coexist, that the desperate beast really did bite deepest. The creche would learn that too. Or they'd die trying to teach us otherwise. The fortress swallowed our transports like a stone giant taking breath. Massive doors, each one thick enough to withstand orbital bombardment, closed behind us with the finality of a tomb ceiling. But this tomb was alive. Lights flickered on throughout corridors that stretched deeper than I could calculate, revealing a city carved from the mountain's heart. Thousands of the Queen's people moved with purpose, transforming civilian spaces into military operations centers with practiced efficiency. They've done this before, I said, watching a residential district convert into barracks in minutes. 47 times, remember? The Queen descended from her transport, guards forming protective formation instantly. The creche have attempted this fortress. Each time they failed, each time we adapted. She gestured at the organized chaos. War has made us efficient. Maya woke as we disembarked, rubbing her eyes and staring at the massive cavern. It's like a mountain turned inside out. Accurate description. The Queen led us deeper, past checkpoints where her warriors verified identities with bioluminescent scanners. Ambassador, your people will be housed in Section 7. Basic amenities are available, though less comfortable than your colony. Comfort is negotiable. We passed through a natural cathedral where stalactites met stalagmites and columns that had taken millennia to form. Someone had carved emergency shelters into these pillars, efficient use of geological features. Children, both human and alien, stared at each other with curiosity rather than fear. They adapt faster than we do, the Queen observed. Children usually do. They haven't learned to be afraid of different yet. Section 7 was a series of interconnected chambers with ceilings that soared into darkness. Temporary walls divided the space into family units. Not private, but better than the transport's crowded hell. People claimed spaces with quiet desperation, marking territory with whatever possessions they'd managed to carry. I found Maya a corner spot near a bioluminescent moss patch that provided soft light. She sat down heavily, clutching the small bag that held everything she'd saved from our old life. A photo of her mother. A stuffed animal from Earth. A rock she'd found pretty. Rest, I told her. I need to meet with the Queen and plan next moves. When will we go home? I don't know, sweetheart. Will we ever? I had no answer that wasn't a lie, so I kissed her forehead and left before she could see me break. The War Council reconvened in a chamber where walls were carved with historical battles. I recognized some from briefings: the Kresh's first invasion attempt, the siege of the southern continent, the orbital bombardment that nearly cracked the planet. The Queen's people had been fighting for longer than humans had been writing. "Status report," the Queen commanded. Thex activated holographic displays. The canyon bombardment lasted 4 hours. They've moved to systematic destruction of anything that might be useful. Water processors, communication relays, agricultural zones. Scorched earth tactics, I said. They want to ensure we can't return. By tomorrow, nothing will remain of human or allied settlements within 300 miles. Thex highlighted new movements. They've also deployed ground forces, search and destroy teams hunting any survivors who didn't evacuate. My chest tightened. The 4,000 we couldn't save. Do we have any way to help them? No. The Queen's voice was absolute. Attempting rescue would reveal our location. The fortress remains secure only while the Kresh believe we've scattered or died, so we let them be hunted. It's more than the Kresh would offer. She turned to another commander. Defensive status? All primary shields operational. Food stores sufficient for 3 years at current population. Water recycling at 98% efficiency. Medical facilities adapting to human biology with acceptable success rates. Acceptable? I asked. 70% compatibility. Your people metabolize our medicines differently. We're learning, but expect some adverse reactions during adjustment. Great. Survivors of genocide might die from allergic reactions to alien antibiotics. I filed that problem for later. What about offensive capability? I studied the fortress schematics. This place is built to withstand siege, but can we strike back? The Queen's mandible spread. Approval, finally asking the right questions. Yes, we can strike. But it requires patience and precision. She manipulated the hologram to show underground passages. These tunnels extend for hundreds of miles, emerging at strategic points across the continent. The Kresh don't know they exist. Guerrilla warfare, I said, understanding immediately. Hit supply lines, ambush patrols, disappear before they respond. Precisely. But it requires warriors willing to operate independently behind enemy lines with minimal support. I'll do it. Every eye turned to me. The Queen's voice became dangerously quiet. You are an ambassador, not a soldier. I'm whatever we need me to be. You need someone who thinks like a human because the Kresh have never fought humans before. They won't predict our tactics. Your daughter just lost her mother. Would you make her an orphan? The words stung because they were fair. But I thought of the 4,000 being hunted, of the settlements burning, of Maya's question about when we'd go home. If I don't fight, she'll watch her father become irrelevant while others risk their lives. That's worse than dying. It's teaching her to hide while people who showed us kindness bleed for our survival. The Queen studied me for a long time. Your species has a death wish masquerading as nobility. I will go with him. Thex stepped forward. Someone needs to ensure the human doesn't get killed immediately. Other commanders volunteered, warriors with scars that told stories of previous sieges. Within minutes, we had a strike team of 12, 10 of the Queen's best soldiers, Thex, and 1 human ambassador who was probably insane. You'll leave in 6 hours, the Queen said. That gives you time to rest, eat, and make peace with probable death. She looked directly at me. And to explain to your daughter why you're abandoning her. That conversation was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Maya didn't cry when I told her. She just stared at me with eyes too old for 6 years and asked the question I'd been dreading. Are you coming back? I'm going to try. That's what Mom said. Your mother was the bravest person I ever knew. When those bombs came, she stayed behind because children needed evacuation and someone had to coordinate. She saved 300 lives before the building collapsed. You told me already. What I didn't tell you is that she was terrified. She called me right before the end and her voice was shaking. But she stayed anyway because being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing what needs to be done anyway. Maya's chin trembled. I don't want you to be brave. I want you to be here. But the Kresh are hunting people who couldn't evacuate. If I can save even a few of them, your mom would want me to try. Mom's dead. She doesn't want anything anymore. The brutal honesty of children. I pulled Maya into a hug.
feeling her tiny body shake with suppressed sobs. You're right. She's gone. But the person she made me become isn't. And that person has to fight. Then I'm coming with you.
Absolutely not. You can't stop me. She pulled back, glaring with determination that was pure. Her mother. You go on missions, I go with you. That was the deal with the Queen. That was for council meetings, not combat operations behind enemy lines. You didn't specify, neither did she. Maya crossed her arms. I'm 6, not stupid. If you leave me here and die, I'm alone in an alien fortress on a planet being invaded. If I come with you, at least we're together. Please. Every parental instinct screamed to refuse. But she was right about one thing. If I died, she'd be alone either way. At least together, I could protect her until the end. Or maybe that was just me rationalizing keeping my daughter close when the universe was falling apart. I found the Queen in her private chambers, a space surprisingly sparse considering her rank, just a sleeping platform and walls covered in what looked like family portraits rendered in bioluminescent pigments. My daughter insists on coming with the strike team. Children of warriors often do. What did you tell her? It's your fortress, your operation. But her mandibles were spread in that almost smile. Unfortunately for you, I think she should come. The Kresh have never encountered human children. They won't perceive her as a threat until too late. That's exploitable. She turned from her wall of memories. And honestly, Ambassador, I don't trust you to fight effectively if you're worried about her safety here. Better to have her where you can see her. She's 6 years old. She survived genocide, evacuation, and war. She's already a veteran by most species standards. The Queen's tone softened slightly. I won't send her into combat, but having her with the team for reconnaissance and support? That I'll allow. Wanted to rage about putting children in danger, but I'd run out of safe options the moment the first Kresh ship entered orbit. Thank you, Your Majesty. Don't thank me yet. If she dies, you'll hate me forever. If she lives, she'll be traumatized. There are no good outcomes here, Ambassador. Only degrees of terrible, as usual. 6 hours later, our strike team gathered at a tunnel entrance that looked like a natural cave formation but had been reinforced with technology I couldn't identify. Each warrior carried weapons designed for silence, energy blades instead of guns, compressed air launchers instead of explosives. Maya wore armor scaled down to her size, looking like a tiny knight from old Earth stories. Thex had personally fitted it, adding communication systems and emergency beacons. Stay behind me always, I told her for the 10th time. If I say run, you run. No arguments. I'll be good. The simplicity of her promise broke something in me. 6-year-olds should be promising to clean their rooms or finish homework, not to be obedient during military operations. Thex approached, his carapace fitted with stealth modifications that made him nearly invisible in shadow. We move in silence from this point. Hand signals only unless emergency. The tunnels have acoustic properties that carry sound for miles. We descended into darkness, lit only by bioluminescent markers too dim for human eyes to detect comfortably. Maya held my hand, trusting me to guide her through the alien dark. The tunnel stretched on, sloping downward in gradual increments that suggested geological forces rather than deliberate construction. But periodic reinforcements proved otherwise. This was engineering disguised as nature. After 3 hours of walking, Thex signaled a halt. He pressed one claw against the tunnel wall and a hidden panel opened, revealing surveillance equipment monitoring the surface above. The display showed Kresh patrol units moving through what had been farmland, burning crops and scanning for life signs. They were methodical, dividing territory into grids and clearing each section completely before moving on. Professional genocide. Target, Thex whispered, barely audible. He highlighted a supply convoy moving along what had been a human-built road, lightly guarded. Destroying it forces them to divert resources for resupply. I studied the tactical situation. The convoy was exposed, moving through open terrain with minimal cover. The guards were alert but spread thin, expecting no resistance. When? I asked. 30 minutes. We'll position in the ridgeline above, strike when they're directly below, then retreat through secondary tunnels before reinforcements arrive. Maya tugged my sleeve. What about the people they're hunting? Can we find them? Thex looked at her with something like respect. If they're smart, they've gone underground. The canyon has natural cave systems we didn't have time to search during evacuation. Some might be hiding there. Then we should check, Maya said, after we hit the convoy before we go back. Because she was right. We came out here to fight, but also to save. One without the other was just revenge. We'll search for 2 hours after the convoy strike, I told Thex. If we find survivors, we bring them back. That increases our risk significantly. I know. Do it anyway. But he nodded and began positioning his warriors along the ridgeline using terrain features for concealment. Maya and I took a position behind a boulder that provided good overwatch while keeping us out of direct combat. The convoy approached right on schedule. 6 vehicles hauling supplies, surrounded by 20 crushed soldiers in powered armor. They moved with the confidence of conquerors, weapons lowered, attention divided. They had no idea death waited above. Thex gave the signal. Warriors dropped from the ridgeline like stones, energy blades igniting mid-fall. The first 3 Kresh died before they registered attack. Their armor meant nothing against weapons designed to cut through starship hulls, but the Kresh were professional soldiers. They recovered fast, forming defensive positions and returning fire with weapons that turned stone to molten slag. One blast hit close enough to our boulder that I felt the heat through my armor. Maya didn't scream, didn't panic. Just pressed herself flat and watched with the same intensity she'd shown during council meetings. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it ended, all 20 Kresh soldiers were dead and 3 of our warriors were injured. We'd lost no one. The supplies burned with chemical fire that would signal for miles, but that was intentional. We wanted the Kresh to know they weren't safe anywhere. 2 hours, Thex said, checking his chronometer. Then we're gone whether we find anyone or not. We searched the canyon caves with scanning equipment that detected heat signatures and carbon dioxide concentrations. Most tunnels were empty, showing only signs of native wildlife. But in a cave system half collapsed from the bombardment, we found them. 47 humans huddled in darkness, rationing water and hoping death would pass them by. They'd been hiding for 3 days, listening to the Kresh hunt above. When our lights found them, some sobbed with relief. Others stared in shock, unable to process rescue after giving up hope. We need to move now, I said. Can everyone walk? They could. Even the injured found strength when faced with the alternative. We guided them into the tunnels, sealing the entrance behind us with controlled collapse that looked natural. If the Kresh searched these caves, they'd find nothing but rock and bones of people who died long ago. The journey back took 5 hours instead of 3, slowed by civilians unused to forced marches and darkness. Maya walked with them, talking to the children, keeping spirits up with stories about the fortress and the queen, and the beautiful aliens who'd risked everything to save humanity. By the time we reached the fortress, she'd made 6 new friends and convinced a terrified teenager that life was worth fighting for. I watched her move through the group like her mother had once moved through crowds, bringing hope wherever she went. 6 years old and already understanding what mattered. The queen met us at the entrance, surveying the refugees with those compound eyes that missed nothing. 47. You exceeded expectations, Ambassador. Maya's idea. We hit the convoy and she suggested we search for survivors. Then Maya has tactical value beyond what I estimated. The queen knelt beside my daughter. Well done, little warrior. You saved 47 lives today. It's what Mom would have done, Maya said simply. Yes, it is. The queen stood, addressing the entire strike team. Rest and recover. The Kresh will retaliate for the convoy destruction. We need to be ready. But as we dispersed, she pulled me aside. Your daughter is becoming a symbol, Ambassador.
The other children watch her.
Draw strength from her fearlessness. That's powerful. Also dangerous. I know, but I can't stop her from being who she is. You can't. Just remember, symbols get targeted. Make sure she survives to become the woman her mother would be proud of. It was a warning and a promise, and a threat. All at once. I understood completely. The war for our survival was just beginning. But we'd won something today, beyond tactical victories. We'd proven that hope survived, that 47 lives mattered, that a 6-year-old's compassion could change battle strategy. The Kresh would learn that humanity didn't just fight dirty. We fought with everything we had, including the parts they'd never think to defend against, like children who saw beauty in strength, and strength in survival.